The Irish-American billionaire Chuck Feeney has done it all, from bringing us luxury shopping in airports with duty-free to facilitating peace in Northern Ireland. Which other billionaire has that kind of range? Unlike the Musks and Zuckerbergs of the world, Chuck Feeney has had a pretty reclusive life and likes to stay out of the spotlight. For that reason, his investments and his property portfolio has remained unknown for years now. And recently, in September of this year, he went from his net worth of $8 billion to almost nothing. But why? What could have possibly drained his bank account that much? Welcome back to our channel. Charles Francis Feeney was born in New Jersey in 1931, which is when the Great Depression was on in America. He came from the modest background of blue-collar workers and had a pretty normal life growing up. He graduated from St. Mary of the Assumption High School and went on to serve as a U.S. Air Force radio operator in Japan during the Korean War. He said the best thing he got from the experience was a GI scholarship. With that, he attended Cornell University and then traveled to France to take more college classes. He later started following the U.S. Navy's Atlantic Fleet around, selling them tax-free liquor. The competition was fierce in the business, but his experience in the military helped him talk his way right onto their ships. In the 1950s, he had pretty much established himself as the seller to the U.S. Navy in Mediterranean ports. The concept of duty-free goods was relatively new back then. The idea was to offer high-end concessions to travelers free of import taxes. Chuck and his college friend Robert Warren Miller soon moved from alcohol to cars and tobacco. Soon enough, they founded the Duty-Free Shoppers Group in 1960. It started in Hong Kong, and today you can find it in every single airport across the world. It exploded, eventually moving off airport into large downtown Galleria stores and giving Feeney, Miller, and their two other partners up to $300 million a year in profits. As the brand got bigger, so did Feeney's net worth, and unknown to the world, he was giving the money away to charity as quickly as he was earning it. In 1996, Feeney decided to sell his stakes in duty-free to the French conglomerate Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, but it wasn't without its problems. Miller tried to talk him out of it, and the resulting lawsuit that followed revealed that Feeney's shares actually belonged to his charity foundation, the Atlantic Philanthropies. In 1997, the business dispute caused this information to leak to the public, and his charitable works came out in the open. The man who always flies economy and carries his papers in a plastic bag created an organization that helped make changes we can't even imagine. Chuck Feeney has become an inspiration to the likes of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. In an interview, Buffett said, "He's a model for us all. It's going to take me 12 years after my death to get done what he's doing within his lifetime." Inspired by him, Buffett founded the Giving Pledge, a call for billionaires to donate a majority of their wealth to philanthropy. Not to be outdone, billionaire Microsoft founder started his own foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and his Giving While Living Pledge. Both of these groups enlisted 90 of the world's wealthiest to grant their wealth for the greater good. Chuck Feeney gave money to big problems. His donations helped bring peace in Northern Ireland and large amounts of funding for their education. It modernized Vietnam's healthcare system and gave $350 million to turn the wasteland that was Roosevelt Island into a technological hub. And he did all this without his partners in duty-free ever knowing. For years, Atlantic gave away money and kept his identity secret. Of course, this was because Feeney didn't like tooting his own horn, but it was also a way to leverage donations. If people didn't know Chuck Feeney was tied to the cause, they might pay even more to get naming rights. The biggest recipient of his efforts has been Cornell University, where he graduated. The school received over $1 billion from Atlantic, including a donation of $350 million to help create the New York City Tech Campus on Roosevelt Island. It's clear to see he wasn't waiting to grant gifts after his death or looking to open a legacy fund. He wanted to create impact now. In an interview, he once said, "I see little reason to delay giving when so much good can be achieved through supporting worthwhile causes. Besides, it's a lot more fun to give while you live than to give while you're dead." His decision to devote his wealth to charity came from a belief that people of great means should use their wealth to address existing problems and make a difference in whatever capacity they can. And it wasn't just education and technology that benefited from his generosity. He paid $62 million to abolish the death penalty in America. He gave $76 million for grassroots campaigns in support of Obamacare without health insurance in America, and secured life-saving medication for millions affected with HIV/AIDS in South Africa. He also didn't just give the money to Atlantic and disappear. He transferred his entire personal fortune to the foundation and remained a part of every single venture and effort. He would routinely draw on his own experience experience with duty-free to guide and influence the company's grant-making. And years later, in September 2020, Feeney finally accomplished what he set out to do 4 decades ago. He signed the documents to close down Atlantic Philanthropies. It was a Zoom ceremony with the board, and he joined in the meeting from his humble abode in San Francisco, a 2-bedroom apartment that he shares with his wife, Helga Feeney. The date to close down the foundation was set years ago as a deadline by which Chuck Feeney was to dispose of all of his wealth, and the 2020 expiration date added discipline and a sense of urgency. And though he isn't one for awards and accolades, his philanthropic work has earned him recognition from around the world. Termed the James Bond of philanthropy for his super-secret donations, Feeney has received the Cornell Icon of Industry Award from his former university and many honorary doctorates from universities across Ireland, plus a Presidential Distinguished Service Award in 2012. In the same year, the University of California awarded him the UCSF Medal for donating heavily to their health science mission. In 2019, Chuck Feeney was made an honorary Queensland great, and in 2020, Cornell announced they were renaming the East Avenue Feeney Way to honor his contributions. While his philanthropy may be out of business now, his influence remains in the world. He spent $3.7 billion on education, $870 million on human rights and social change causes, and $700 million on funding healthcare in Vietnam, South Africa, and America. Though he led an incredibly frugal life, he was a man ready to spend big and go broke if it was for the right cause. What do you think? Do you see yourself spending that kind of cash when you're a billionaire? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button